And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today. As always, we are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/Takes by Fans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered in multiple ways. Alrighty, today's a big old Monday, folks. In the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference, in the top 10 teams in the Western Conference, congratulations, because you are officially in postseason play. Yesterday in the NBA, the regular season wrapped up with teams going out and securing their spots, and we even had the Boston Celtics, who we gotta write an email to this website that we used yesterday. We didn't think the website that we used, they told us the tiebreaker didn't matter, that the Bucks were locked into that 2 seed. That was not the case because the Celtics got the 2 seed yesterday in the Eastern Conference, locked in a higher seed, started yesterday at the 3rd seed, and now is the 2 seed. Absolutely fantastic by the Celtics last night, going out and securing your spot. Yes, folks, so teams got it done last night. Final game of the regular season, but it didn't matter. They still went 100% full strength to secure their spot. That was the theme on yesterday's show, folks. Secure your spot. Final day. We had 8 bets going, and we went 5 of 8. We had 5 out of those large spreads, swallowing all those points, and teams showing out and dominating well. So today on the show, we're breaking down all the NBA from last night, the last day of the regular season. And then we've got to re-update our power rankings. Final update, and there's not that many updates, folks. We had it pretty right, and these last couple of days truly kind of solidified for me. Yeah, our top 10 is pretty much right. There is kind of one main change I want to make, and then we'll talk about the rest, but that's really it. So re-updating our power rankings for the final time, and then what y'all have been waiting for, folks, walking through the playoffs, predicting the winners and the outcome of the play-in tournament game starting tomorrow. No NBA on tonight. Unfortunate, but let's take a day to decompress and let's re-hit it tomorrow with the 2 play-in tournament games. So we'll walk through the play-in tournament games, see who gets the 7th and 8th seed in the Eastern and Western Conferences, and then we'll walk through the playoffs, crowning our champion. Now, we did this at the All-Star break. The middle of the kind of season is the last time we did this, and we'll recap what we said then, but let's see what has changed, and I think something's going to change. I don't know if we can crown this team the winners again. They're going to have to hope it's an easy road into the playoffs, and spoiler alert, the first round is going to be brutal for them, so I don't know if they can repeat, but we'll talk all that through once we get there. So, breaking down the games, can't bet tonight, truly unfortunate. Maybe we bet something else, maybe we find something else to bet, we'll see. So breaking down the games for last night, can't bet on anything tonight, truly unfortunate. Power rankings, final order for the final time, and then walking through the NBA playoff picture. And then if we have time in the NFL, there's really no stories to go over. A little bit of a quiet day so far in the NFL, which you know what that means. Something crazy is about to happen. We have not gone one day without any crazy major NFL news, I would say, since the offseason has started. I think I'm comfortable of making that big old blanket statement, folks. So, we'll see if anything breaks by the time we get to the NFL, but we may just be watching Malik Willis. May. Tomorrow, though, folks, no NBA to break down. Only have to talk about 2 games tomorrow. Malik Willis tomorrow, definitely, maybe today. So let's see what we get out of the way today on Takes by Fans. So let's start here in the NBA and then transition to the NFL. So first thing we got to get out of the way here before we start talking about closure of the season, folks. We got to talk about the last game that all the teams played yesterday. Every team in action yesterday and the final day of the regular season, and some teams truly bought it. So brought it and bought it. They did both, folks. So let's see what went on last night, the final day of the regular season. So, first game up here, we got the Pacers at the Nets, folks, and look at this. Yes, the Nets won. Yes, the Nets went out and secured that 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, so they have home play in tournament advantage. That's fantastic, and they also have 2 opportunities, 2 chances to make the playoffs as either the 7th seed or the 8th seed. So, Nets taking care of business last night, fantastic, but it wasn't really in blowout fashion, dominating fashion. Why we really can't buy this Nets team 100% heading into the playoffs. We know the Pacers have really been competitive all year long, and it was no different last night, final day of the NBA regular season. Nets were 16-point favorites, and I think it even climbed to 17. I think it went up a full point from when we talked about it at noon, from tip-off at 3:30. People were betting the Nets. We even swallowed all those points. And what were one of the bets? We had 8 bets going last night. 5 hit, 3 didn't. One of the 3 that didn't hit was the Nets. Classic. Can never bet on the Nets. Can never rely on the Nets. Why are we all scared of the Nets? I can't wait for the Nets to get bounced out of the playoffs, earlier the better here, so I can stop saying, we should all be afraid of the Nets, because I'm, regurgitating the garbage that y'all regurgitate on a daily basis. I cannot wait till I can no longer say we have to be scared of the Nets in a sarcastic showing and tone. So, Nets win last night, but it was close. Only win by 8 as 16-point favorites. Nets get the win 134-126 last night. For the Nets, Kevin Durant, 20 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds, triple-double by Kevin Durant, and that's just to win by 8 points. Kyrie Irving, 35 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. He shot 75% on 20 shots. Once again, all that to only win by 8 points. Bruce Brown, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Andre Drummond, 20 points, 13 rebounds. And then we had Kessler Edwards in the starting lineup for 10 points and 5 rebounds as well. Off the bench, Paddy Mills shot 2 of 5 from the 3, 8 points, and Paddy Mills has been playing pretty solid these last 3-4 games. Paddy Mills has been getting it done. They're going to need him to play at this high level every single game in the playoffs. There's going to be no opportunities for this Nets team to take any games off. They're immediately starting in the play-in tournament, 7th seed already. Got to win to get in, and then you have to face either the number 1 or number 2 seed, Heat or the Celtics. And you're lucky about the Celtics because they don't have Robert Williams, but at the end of the day, they're a great defensive team and will lock your ass up. Not like what y'all can do. The Nets can't lock anybody up. So the Nets are going to have this type of level of performance by everybody. This was a real good performance by everybody offensively. Once again, we know the Nets don't have any defense, but we're going to need Paddy Mills going for, 10 plus points, shooting very efficient from the 3. We're going to need Nicholas Claxton coming off the bench, 14 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. We're going to need Kyrie Irving shooting this 75%. We're going to need Kevin Durant the triple, double, all of that. So the Nets, folks, the Nets, and then we get this, to put the cherry on top, here we get this, there is quote-unquote optimism. Ben Simmons could make his return during the first round of the playoffs. There's optimism, he could do this, blah, blah, blah. When was the last time we've heard Ben Simmons' name with all these stipulations? Maybe, possibly, it's foreseen he could potentially come back for the play-in tournament. Remember, we heard that a couple of weeks ago, and then that got shut down. Now the new kind of optimism is, hey, he could make his return during the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, optimism potentially could. I'm not buying it until I see him out there. So once again, why are we scared of ghosts? Why are we scared of the Ben Simmons ghost? What we all know he has done, not what he can do at this current moment. We haven't seen him play basketball in a year, and spoiler alert, the man can still not shoot. He still cannot shoot, folks. So once again, why are we worried about the ghost of Ben Simmons? Why are we worried about the ghost of Kevin Durant of being clutch? We've seen him be clutch in big-time situations in the playoffs, but we really haven't seen Kevin Durant be clutch this season late down the stretch. So why are we worried about the ghost of clutchness Durant? We haven't seen it for a while. So we're not worried about the Nets. I'm pretty sure that's going to be reflected when we talk through the playoff scenarios and walk through all the games. We'll have a counter of how many times we have to say we are not scared of the Nets, but I'm pretty sure that number is going to be very, very hefty. So the Nets get the win. Congratulations. And then for the Pacers, we had Tyrese Haliburton, 17 points, 10 assists. Buddy Hield, 21 points, 5 of 14 from the 3. O'Shea Brissett shot 5 of 10 from the 3 for 28 points. And then we had Dwayne Washington Jr. shoot 4 of 6 from the 3, 18 points. So Indiana Pacers, they put up 126 points. The Nets defense can't shut them down. So the Nets can't cover that big old 16, 17 point spread of whatever you locked it in. And this is a team that, once again, people are saying that we should be afraid of. I don't know, folks. I don't know. Nets get the win 134-126, secure the 7th seed, and have home court advantage for the play-in tournament. Alrighty, here we go. Next game up, we got the Wizards at the Hornets, and the Hornets take care of business, winning 124-108. Unfortunate for the Hornets, that only got them the 10th seed because the Nets and the Cavs and the Hawks all won last night. So Hornets, didn't matter if they won, didn't matter if they lost, they are still the 10th seed heading into the play-in tournament. So you got to win twice, you got to beat the Hawks on the road, and then you have to probably most likely face the Cavs on the road as well. And that's just to get the 8th seed, where you have to face the Nets and absolutely get obliterated by them. This Heat team will absolutely lock up the Hornets defensively, no problem, and will probably win 4-0. If that's even if the Hornets get into the playoffs. So not looking real good for the Hornets, but hey, their season is extended. They're in the postseason, so it's a nice kind of, benchmark of success for this very, very young and potentially emerging Hornets team coming up in the future. So, LaMelo Ball, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, fantastic game. Terry Rozier, 25 points, 6 assists, but then everybody else floundered in the starting lineup. We had Mason Plumlee, 8 points, 8 rebounds. PJ Washington, 9 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. And Miles Bridges, 9 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. So all the starters really didn't do well besides LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier. Off the bench, we had Montrezl Harrell, 8 points, 4 rebounds. Jalen McDaniels, 14 points, 6 rebounds, and Isaiah Thomas, a nice 14 points to help out. But once again, we know this Hornets team isn't that great overall. And then for the Wizards, they didn't play anybody last night, so we truly do not care about them. Hornets get the win 124-108. And then we get this. Gordon Hayward will miss the play-in tournament and will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So Gordon Hayward, we saw him get right back in the lineup like 2 weeks ago and then immediately get re-injured, retweaked that left foot, and now he's out again. So Gordon Hayward not going to be there for the Hornets in the play-in tournament, which they definitely need. They need that kind of shooter. That's what the Hornets are. They live and die by their shooting, their outside shooting, and Gordon Hayward is a solid outside shooter piece for this Hornets team. So having to go on the road for those first 2 play-in tournament games without a shooter like this, I mean, they haven't had him all season long, so they've been able to, make do without him. But still, you want to be at full strength, as healthy as possible, as deep as possible heading into the playoffs, and the Hornets are not quite that. So, yeah, the Hornets won last night. Yes, the Hornets get into the play-in tournament, but it's not looking good for them for the rest of the way. Hornets get the win last night, 124-108. All right, next game up here, we got the Bucks at the Cavs, and the Bucks, kind of lost this game. And were they losing on purpose? I mean, they sat everybody, so they kind of just, expected to lose, didn't start any of their starters, and they were the 3rd seed heading into last night, and or they were the 2nd seed heading into last night, and then they fall down to the 3rd seed. Why didn't the Bucks want to be the 2 seed? Is it because of the Nets? The Nets are most likely, if everything kind of goes to as planned, plan. They get the 7 seed, so the 2 and 7 seed face each other. Did the Bucks not want to face the Nets round 1? So they lose, let the Celtics win, so they leapfrog them in the standings. So now the Bucks are the 3rd seed, having to face the Bulls round 1, the easiest first round matchup that there is in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I don't want to face the 7th seed. I don't want to face the 8th seed. I want to face the 6th seed Bulls. Give me them round 1. So were the Bulls putting off facing the Nets? And we know the Bucks can beat the Nets, no problem. We saw that last season. We saw it a few weeks ago. Now, it did go down to the wire every time they face them, but the Bucks always end up on top when it goes down to the wire. So I don't know, were the Bucks avoiding the Nets? Were they not? Whatever it is, they got the easier matchup, and I'm truly upset that the Celtics now have to face the Nets. We know we're not scared of the Nets, but at the end of the day, this Eastern Conference really isn't, I guess for the most part, like the upper seeded teams, the Heat, the Celtics, the Bucks, maybe even the 76ers are kind of on the fence. The top 4 teams are better than like the bottom 4 teams out here. So the Nets, you get Kevin Durant, we are afraid of Kevin Durant himself. We know what he can do. But this Nets team, they're a little bit too star-studded for like a bottom, 5, 6, 7, 8 seed. So, it's still a little bit of competition to face in the first round where, facing the Bulls. Folks, would you rather face the Bulls or the Nets? I think we're all 100% on wanting to face the Bulls first over the Nets. So Bucks maybe playing a little bit of big brain 4D chess out here, which, hey, I can't knock, absolutely not. So Bucks lose a little bit on purpose last night, 133-115 over the Cavs. Cavs go out and secure the 8th seed. They could have maybe potentially dropped back to the 9th seed, all of that, and they get to win last night. So for the Bucks, they said everybody. No reason to go over all their players. And then for the Cavs last night, getting the win, Darius Garland, only 11 points, 8 rebounds. Karis LeVert in the starting lineup, cannot play in the starting lineup, 6 points on 28% shooting. Has Karis LeVert ever played good in the starting lineup for this Cavs team? Kevin Love off the bench is a savior, 32 points, 10 rebounds. C.D. Osman coming off the bench of 15 big old points as well. So the Cavs, man, they're going to need Jared Allen back, hopefully as soon as possible. They had Evan Mobley last night, 18 points, 10 rebounds, a nice game by him, but they're going to need to kind of bring it even more in the playing tournament. It's good for the Cavs that they have two opportunities to get into the play-in tournament. Having to face the Nets round 1, game 1 is not something that they're probably looking forward to, but having to maybe face either the Hornets or the Hawks in round 2, it's a little bit more of their speed a little bit. So we'll see if the Cavs season ends a little bit prematurely or if they claw their way into the playoffs, which I'm a little bit rooting for. So Cavs get the win, 133-115. All right, next game up, we got the Hawks at the Rockets, and the Hawks take care of business, locking themselves into the 9th seed, beating the Rockets last night. Here we go. Beating the Rockets 130-114 last night for the Hawks. We had Trae Young, 28 points, 11 rebounds. Clint Capella, 18 points, 13 rebounds. Danilo Gallinari, 26 points. And DeAndre Hunter, nice 22-point performance, helping out as well. Bogdanovich coming off the bench, 4 of 9 from the 3. 14 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Once again, Bogdanovich coming off the bench. That's where he truly thrives. That's where he flourishes. Always consistent coming off that bench. So Hawks putting it together, the back end, maybe final 2.5 weeks of the season, and we'll see, is this the kind of spark they needed to finally show up this season? Have been kind of lagging, a little bit of a step behind all year long, but turning it around, getting into the playing tournament, the 9th seed. We'll see how they fare, but they have to win twice. Got to win twice, and it's going to be tough for this Hawks team to do that because they haven't really won back-to-back, won twice in a row, really all year long. But maybe catching fire at the right time. So Hawks get the win over the Rockets. They played Jalen Green, 41 points, the walking bucket that he classifies himself as. Kevin Porter Jr., 26 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds, and once again, they played really well, but meaningless. You lose by 16. That's a blowout. You're at home. Once again, I've got no problems rooting for Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., once again, they're classifying themselves as, walking buckets. And, this is what we said yesterday on the show, that everybody's trying to get kind of rowdy on this Rockets team, being like, this is the future, like this is about to be a great team. But once again, they're doing all these performances in non-meaningful games. Always losing, always getting blown out, and then you put up the 41 points. That's not impressive. I got to see the wins with these stats. Then I'll be impressed. So, still not buying in 100% into the whole Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., new age Rockets. They need to put everybody on notice. Yeah, let's kind of pump the brakes on that until we see them next season at 0-0 when everything is meaningful at that point. Let's see what they do at that time. So, Hawks get the win, 9th seed in the Eastern Conference, and we'll see if they can do anything in the playoffs or even get to the playoffs. All right, next game up here, Celtics at the Grizzlies. Grizzlies were resting everybody, but we know one thing about the Grizzlies. Doesn't matter who they put out there on the floor, they're going to be competitive. And, they put up 110 points. It was pretty solid, but this Celtics team, folks, gets it done. They go out and win the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Is that the best thing for them? No. Once again, now you have to face the Nets, most likely, folks. We got to, put that stipulation on there. Because, it is the playing tournament. It's just whoever wins between the Nets and the Cavs get the 7th seed. So, we're just assuming it's the Nets right now. So, Celtics get the win 139-110. Most likely going to have to face the Nets now. And if you give me the choice, Nets or the Bulls, folks, it's not even a debate. Give me the Bulls. Give me the Bulls. Give me the fraudulent Bulls, folks. Frauds over there in Chicago. So Celtics win 139-110. They cover them -8.5, all of that. They played their starters. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 9 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, 18 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Daniel Tice, 11 points, 10 rebounds. Always on the floor for some reason. I don't get it. Always knocked down, sitting on the floor. I don't get it. Marcus Smart, not the greatest game. 4 points, but he had 6 assists. We'll give him those. Only took 7 shots, once again, which we like. Giving the other kind of shooters on the floor a little bit more opportunities to score. So Marcus Smart overall an all right game. And then Al Horford at the 4 still 13.6 rebounds. Once again, I'm still a little disappointed we haven't gotten any experimentation lineup here with the Celtics. You all know I'm clamoring to see Marcus Smart at the 1. How do we have this going? It was Marcus Smart at the 1, Jaylen Brown at the 2, I think we did it like this. Marcus Smart at the 1, Derek White at the 2, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Tatum at the 4, and Al Horford at the 5. That's the starting 5 I really want to watch. I really cannot stomach watching Daniel Tice anymore. Once again, he's always on the floor. He's always on the ground. What are you doing? Why are you always on the ground? Will you stay on your feet, please, Daniel Tice? So we'll see how far Daniel Tice can help this Celtics team go. But then off the bench, folks, this is what we get. Some solid performances. Grant Williams, 9 points, 3 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard, who I've been so impressed with, getting us buckets, getting us points, scoring, offensive production. Coming off the bench, 15 minutes for him last night. 12 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Yes, sir, absolutely will take that. And then we had Luke Cornett coming off the bench as well. 10 points, 5 rebounds, helping out. So for the Celtics, everything was going good. Their defense is still looking tip-top shape, and that's really where that's really going to make the difference in the Celtics-Nets series round 1 matchup. Is this Celtics defense locking up, containing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Because if you don't allow them to score, nobody else on that Nets team can. So we'll see how far the Celtics team goes. I'm rooting for them. I'm praying for them. It's unfortunate how their season has panned out. Losing Robert Williams, now the number 2 seed. Not where you really want to be, but if there's anybody that can make the most out of a bad situation, it's superstar Jason Tatum. It's mother-loving facilitator Marcus Smart. It's a fantastic Robin and Jaylen Brown, and then it's the one that put it all together, Ime Udoka as the head coach. It's looking all fantastic. So if it's anybody that can overcome all these odds stacked against them, it's the Boston Celtics, folks. Love everything about this team, besides Daniel Tice, obviously. All right, and then for the Grizzlies, once again, they said everybody last night, so this was their starting lineup. De'Anthony Melton, 14 points, 5 assists. John Contra at the 2, 17 points, 10 assists, 13 rebounds. Xavier Tillman playing the 5 points, 4 rebounds. Zaire Williams at the 3, 18 points. And Kyle Anderson at the 4, 16 points, 7 rebounds. So once again, they still got great production from their starters because this Grizzlies team, folks, are full of dogs. The Bears, the Grizzly Bears are all dogs. Riddle me that. I don't know how it works, folks, but that's what they are. Grizzlies lose, but still competitive with all their kind of C squad players. Celtics get the win, though, 139-110. Alrighty, here we go. Next game up, Raptors at the Raptors at the Knicks. Raptors with really nothing to play for. They were locked into that fifth seed there. So really nothing to play for. Knicks nothing to play for. Raptors sit most of their starters. No Fred VanVleet. No Pascal Siakam. The two that really make it tick. Scotty Barnes out there last night, only 7 points. Lackluster. Gary Trent Jr. put up 17 points to help out, but everybody else in the starting lineup could not get it done. And then for the Knicks, they kind of sat everybody as well. Obi Toppin, though, when he can go manic, 42 points, 10 rebounds. Emmanuel Quickley, 34 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. So we had Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley both play out of their absolute gourds last night. And it took all this time for Tom Thibodeau to finally put them in the starting lineup. Took the entire year, final regular season game that meant nothing to this Knicks team because they were already eliminated from the playoffs. And now we finally get Obi Toppin. We finally get Emmanuel Quickley out there in the starting lineup. And y'all want to rock with Tom Thibodeau in the next season? What are we doing? And Evan Fournier also played last night. Trash, flounder, 6 points, 5 assists on 18% shooting. He's been out there as a starter this entire year. He sucks. You bring Obi Toppin, you bring an Emmanuel Quickley into the starting lineup for the first time this season, and they go manic. Do you see Tom Thibodeau cannot evaluate talent? He doesn't know what he's doing. Fire Tom Thibodeau. Get this Knicks team back on track next season, and let's go from there. But this is absolutely ridiculous. Evan Fournier, 6 points on 18% shooting. Abysmal. He's trash. He should not be starting. Should not have been starting after like 5-10 games. But here he is starting the entire year. Emmanuel Quickley at the 1, triple-double. Plus 23 on the floor. Okay. All right. So, Knicks, they don't know what they're doing. They win 105-94, but that's because nothing to play for. Raptors sitting everybody. Okay, congrats on your last regular season win of the season, Knicks. Raptors will be in the postseason. Alrighty, next game up, we got the Heat at the Magic. Heat, nothing to play for. They're locked into that 1 seed, so the Magic get the win, 125-111. We had Victor Oladipo playing last night. He put up 40 points, 7 assists, and 10 rebounds. He was really the only one starting last night. Duncan Robinson can't even play well when he's kind of the number 2 option. I mean, folks, this is their starting lineup. Victor Oladipo and Duncan Robinson at the 1 and the 2. We all know their names, and we all know this Heat backup team name because the backups and the second string and the other role players have been playing very meaningful minutes all year long. This is the remainder of the starting lineup. Michael Mulder, Hayward Highsmith, Omer Yurtseven. We rarely call their names. I only remember calling Omer Yurtseven. The other two, we don't even know who the hell they are. So even in that sense, Duncan Robinson still can't get it done in the starting lineup. Once again, don't get blinded just alone by stats. If you look at the stats, Duncan Robinson is the lethalest three-point shooter in the league. Here he is, only getting 9 points with Omer Yurtseven, Hayward Highsmith, and Michael Mulder all on the floor. Yes. So, Heat can't win the game, but, who cares? They weren't even really trying last night. And then for the Magic, they win with no Cole Anthony. Once again, you don't need Cole Anthony. Shout out to Markelle Fultz, 10 points, 15 assists, helping this Magic team get a win, sending them into the offseason. Magic get the win, 125-111. All right, next game up, 76ers and the Pistons. 76ers get the win 118-106 last night. 76ers, they kind of mailed it in a little bit. I was a little disappointed, but all right. No James Harden, no Joel Embiid, so kind of sitting most of their squad. Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, both still played last night. We had Tyrese Maxey, 25 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Once again, can always rely on him. Tobias Harris letting us down, 6 points, 6 assists on 30% shooting. Danny Green, 0 points on 2 shots. The Danny Green special. And then off the bench for the 76ers, finally we got something good. Shake Milton going crazy, 30 points. See what happens when you let Shake Milton do his thing. Why was he not giving us any solid production the entire season coming off the bench? Doc Rivers, get it together, please. And then Paul Reed, a solid 25 points, 4 steals, 6 rebounds, once again off the bench to help out as well for the 76ers team. And then for the Pistons, nobody was really playing last night, just really Isaiah Stewart and Sadiq Bey. Isaiah Stewart, 10.6 rebounds, and Sadiq Bey, 5 points on 28% shooting. Not enough to get it done. 76ers get the win 118-106, and they are locked into that 4th seed. All right, continuing on. Next one up here, Bulls at the Timberwolves. Both of these teams locked into their respective positions, so they both didn't really try that hard. Bulls end up with the win, 124-120. For the Bulls, they didn't really play anybody last night, so that's what it was. Ayo still at the 1, 26 points, 6 assists. Kobe White didn't play last night, so that's why Ayo's at the 1. Derek Jones Jr. coming off the bench, 12 points, and let's also shout out Patrick Williams in the starting lineup, 35 giant points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. And then for the Timberwolves, well, only one of the big 3 played. No Karl Anthony Towns, no D'Angelo Russell last night, so it's only Anthony Edwards in the starting lineup. He only played 18 minutes, 8 points on 37% shooting, and that was really it. Everybody coming off the bench got it done for the Timberwolves because they were just playing their backup. So, Bulls get the win. Bulls B squad versus Timberwolves, kind of mix of A, mostly B. Well, Bulls get the win, 124-120. All right, next game up here, we got the Spurs at the Mavericks. Mavericks get the win 130-120. Nice 10-point win for this Mavericks team. Mavericks had an opportunity to potentially get the 3rd seed if the Warriors lost, but the Warriors won. So the Mavericks are locked into that 4th seed with the win last night. So for the Mavericks, Luka Doncic, 26 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. He got a little tweaked up last night, had to exit the game, and hopefully it's nothing alarming heading into the playoffs, but we do get this. There is initial optimism that Dallas star Luka Doncic hasn't suffered a significant injury. The team is calling it a strained left calf. Not sprained, strained. So, doesn't seem to be too serious. Once again, we're still trying to get some information on it. More information is bound to come out today when the MRIs and second opinions get back. We actually get anything right now. Let's see. Anything could be breaking any minute on Luka Doncic. So, it doesn't seem like it's anything bad. It could be. There's a slim chance it could be bad. We don't think it's bad, but we're really just kind of waiting on the official prognosis. Yes? So, seeming like everything's good by Luka Doncic, took him out of the game maybe as just an extra precaution since they really didn't have anything to play for last night. So Luka Doncic does his thing. Dwight Powell, 12.7 rebounds. Dorian Finney-Smith, 16 points. And Jalen Brunson with a solid 18 points. And once again, the Mavericks living and dying by the 3. 20 of 36 last night from the 3. That's amazing. 55% shooting as a team, folks. These are lethal 3-point shooters. That's why they're the 4 seed, because they live and die by the 3. 20 of 36. It's absolutely fantastic. Whereas the Spurs last night shot 11 of 31, 35%. Do you see the difference right there? There it is. So for the Spurs last night, DeJounte Murray back, which is fantastic. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Lost last night, but he'll be ready for those play-in tournament games. So absolutely fantastic. DeJounte Murray, 17 points, 7 assists. Jacob Poeltl, 12 points, 10 rebounds. Keldon Johnson, 24 points, 4 steals, 6 rebounds. Unfortunately, not enough to beat this Mavericks 3-point shooting team. Mavericks get the win 130-120. All right, next game up here, we got the Lakers at the Nuggets, and once again, a little disappointed with the Nuggets. They had an opportunity to get that 5th seed in the Western Conference with a win and a Jazz loss. The Jazz were going up against an easy opponent. They were going against the Blazers, which was pretty much a home run win. So the Nuggets decided to sit everybody last night. A little unfortunate there. So no Jokic, no Aaron Gordon, none of the starters. So they lose the game to the Lakers. Not good. Who the Lakers sat everybody as well. Winning in overtime. Lakers get the win 146-141. For the Lakers last night, we had Malik Monk finally waking up a little bit too little too late, don't you think? 41 points on 7 of 14 from the 3 for Malik Monk. Austin Reeves, 31 points, 10 assists, 16 rebounds to help out as well for that big old win for the Lakers. And then for the Nuggets, here we go, folks. Bryn Forbes in the starting lineup. We love it. Led the team in scoring. 24 points, 5 of 11 from 3. Why is Bryn Forbes not getting more minutes off the bench? The last 3-4 games, he hasn't played at all coming off the bench. Coach's decision, not playing him. Why? Starting lineup here. Meaningless game. Goes crazy. We can get good production from Bryn Forbes. Bones Highland also in the starting lineup. 17 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Fantastic. Now, we know Bones Highland is still getting minutes here, so we don't have to, knock the Nuggets for their decision making. But let's make sure Bryn Forbes is getting quality minutes in the playoffs. Yes. Yes, I want to hear a yes. I need to hear a yes by the Nuggets. I need Bryn Forbes 15-plus minutes coming off the bench every single night in the playoffs. Because it's not an easy first round for you Nuggets out here, yes? You got to go and face the Warriors round 1. It's going to be a little tough. You're going to need that outside shooting to keep up with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins when he decides to wake up officially. You're going to need the Bryn Forbes, the 3, the 5 of 11 from 3 last night. So let's not sleep on Bryn Forbes, please. Michael Malone, the head coach of the Nuggets, get it together. Bryn Forbes got it done last night, leading scorer for the squad. Love it. So, Nuggets lose, locked into that 6th seed now. Lakers get the win, 146-141. All right, final 4 games. Here we go. Next one up, Thunder at the Clippers. Clippers absolutely blow them out, 138-88. 50-point win, folks, for this Clippers team, who was playing really nobody. All their bench. Amir Coffey, 35 points, 13 rebounds. Love seeing Amir Coffey have success out here. Once again, another kind of role bench player that's a little underutilized. So shout out to Bryn Forbes, shout out to Amir Coffey. Let's make sure they're getting quality minutes in the playoffs, please. Playing tournament games, please. Brandon Boston Jr., a real great performance coming off the bench. 18 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds as well. And then for the Thunder, they've shut everybody down for like the last 2 weeks, folks. So of course everybody shut down here. They only play 6 players. They only play 6 players last night, folks. So 6 players you've never heard of. They put up 88 points and get blown out by 50. Clippers get the win, 138-88. All right, then we get the Warriors at the Pelicans. Warriors, once again, they needed a win to secure that 3rd seed, and that's exactly what they got last night. Warriors get the win, 128-107. Pelicans with nothing to play for, so they sit everybody besides CJ McCollum, and he only got the start just to get the start. He played 5 minutes, 0 points, took 2 shots, start for some bonuses and all that, and he ends up only playing 5 minutes, and everybody else comes in. And we know this Pelicans bench role players aren't the best. We really can't rely on them. That's why we need the big 3 on a daily, consistent basis if we want to bet on them, believe on them, and expect them to be competitive in that game. And then for the Warriors last night, Klay Thompson goes manic, 41 points, 7 of 14 from the 3, and this Warriors team with Klay Thompson, I'm going to say that Klay Thompson is really I don't want to spoil anything, but Klay Thompson these last 4-5 games has really convinced us. I'm just going to say that. Klay Thompson, this Warriors team, the last 4 or 5 games have really convinced us, folks. We'll leave it at that. But Klay Thompson, 41 points, 3 rebounds. Jordan Poole, 22 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Can always consistently rely on Jordan Poole, folks. Man, oh man. An absolute great player out here. And then once again, Jonathan Kuminga, always reliable, 18 points, 5 rebounds. And I'm really thinking, folks, maybe having Jonathan Kuminga try to get in the starting lineup at some point. I know it's tough, and this wouldn't be ideal, but Kevon Looney, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want him out here. Maybe move Draymond to the 5, Kuminga at the 4, and I know you're playing very, very small ball at that point. Draymond Green's like 6'8", Jonathan Kuminga's 6'7", so you're not going to have any height, but is Kevon Looney worth it to have out there? What is he, 6'9"? Is he even worth it, the 2-inch height difference? So, I don't know, man. I think we played Draymond Green's only 6'6". I thought he was 6'8". Jeez Louise. So, yeah, going ultra small here. It's tough to do, but I don't know if the Warriors have any choice. Kevon Looney, is he going to be good in the playoffs? He's going to get, and that first round matchup having to go against Jokic. Yes, the Warriors are a better three-point shooting, but Jokic can be dominant in the paint if he can get by Draymond Green. So, I don't know, man. We'll see how that matchup plays out for the Warriors, but schematically on paper, it's not really that great for this Warriors team. So, the usual suspects we can rely on: Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga hold it down for the Warriors last night. So, Warriors get the win, 128-107. Nobody was really playing for the Pelicans last night. All right, last two games. Here we go. Kings at the Suns. Kings get the win, 116-109. Once again, Suns nothing to play for, so they rest everybody. McCall Bridges still playing, and he's officially played every single game this season. Once again, only played 5 minutes last night. Starting lineup, get the starting nod, and then you exit the game, and that's exactly what we did last night. Let's also shout out Landry Shamet getting it done for the Suns last night. 27 points, 5 assists to help out. Unfortunately, didn't win, but he was the leading scorer. For the Kings last night, Davion Mitchell, 18 points, 15 assists. Do we need to say it? We'll say it. Final time of the season. You can move off of De'Aaron Fox if you want to. You can trade De'Aaron Fox if you want to this offseason to bolster up your roster to be competitive next season. You have options, Sacramento Kings. Utilize and think through all of those options. Davion Mitchell, I believe, is ready to take over true starting responsibilities. We give that man the green light, and we give the Kings a green light to do whatever you want with De'Aaron Fox. And Dante DiVincenzo, a great guard coming off the bench, helping out Davion Mitchell if needed. Dante DiVincenzo, 19 points, 3 assists. You are good at guard play. Let De'Aaron Fox go. Get something in return, a great star, some draft picks maybe. Kings, you can turn around the franchise potentially. This is a rebuilding, and it's not even a complete rebuild because you'll be competitive with Davion Mitchell. So, the Kings, for the final time this season, you have options. Explore all those options, and we'll see what you do in this offseason. Do not let it go to waste. Suns lose 116-109. All right, and then the final game of the season, Jazz at the Blazers. Jazz get the 31-point win, 111-80. For the Jazz, Rudy Gobert, 18 points, 13 rebounds. No Donovan Mitchell last night, so we had Daniel House Jr. filling in at the 2, 7 points, 1 assist, 6 rebounds. Yeah, definitely not Donovan Mitchell-esque. Mike Conley, 14 points, okay. Juancho Hernandez-Gomez, 22 points, led the team in scoring. And then coming off the bench, we had Jared Butler, 11 points. Jordan Clarkson, 9 points. Why? 30% shooting. Come on, you're better than that. 11 rebounds as well, and that was really it. So this Jazz team, not really moving the needle for us over here. Yeah, they're in the playoffs, but they'll be the classic Jazz we know they are. And then for the Blazers last night, we had Reggie Perry, 20 points, led the team in scoring. They sat everybody as well. So, Jazz get the win, 111-80, folks, and that is all the final NBA regular season that we had to go over for the rest of the season. No more regular season talk. It all matters 100% now. Every minute, every second of every single game in those 7-game series is the only thing that matters. What you did in the regular season, what you did early in the regular season, what you did late in the regular season. It doesn't matter. Put up or shut up. Show what you are. Go out and get it done, because the time is officially on. The time is now. Playoff starts. Play-in tournaments are starting. Go get it done, and we'll see which teams were frauds in the regular season, and we'll see which teams are the true teams that were competitive and are still going to be competitive in the playoffs. Jazz get the win 111-80 to close out the regular season. Alrighty, so now that we are all caught up on what happened, the regular season finale, let's go and reorder our power rankings quickly, and then we'll walk through the playoffs and play-in tournament. Now, here we go. We've been updating our power rankings on a weekly basis every single Friday, but the last maybe week and a half, 2 weeks, we've been doing it a little bit more often, a little bit of 3-day stretches going in and reordering, just because it is the kind of the back end of the season, and I wanted to truly make sure that the time is now in every single game, because we knew the entire field, basically besides the 1 seed in the Western Conference, everything was up for grabs for the final 2.5, 3 weeks of the regular season, and I wanted to put an emphasis on teams playing very, very well down the stretch and give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt in our power rankings, because they're taking advantage. The back end stretch when everything matters, with everything up on the line, and teams going out there and getting it done. So we have been reordering our power rankings a little bit more frequently as of lately here. And as we look at this list, let's kind of recap it right here. This is our top 10. 76ers at 10, Nuggets at 9, Hawks at 8, Raptors at 7, Heat at 6, Mavs at 5, Grizzlies at 4, Celtics at 3, Bucks at 2, Suns at 1. And as I was kind of going over this list for our final reiteration of power rankings today, I think we have it right. I think we've got the top 10 right here, folks. And there is one switch I do want to make, and that's really it. I think I'm only going to make one little switcheroo here, swap for swap. Take a team out, replace a team in, don't need to reshuffle them any. I think I'm good of just taking one team out, sliding a team into that same spot, and calling it a day, and I'm feeling good about it. So let's start back at number 10. Let's go up to number 1 and just make sure we're feeling comfortable with all these teams in these spots. One final kind of talk over, and when we get to the team that I want to kick out and replace it with, we'll do that as well. So here we go for the last time, our top 10 in the NBA, folks. Here we go, 76ers at 10, yeah. Still question marks on this 76ers team. The depth, go ahead, say it with me, folks. The depth. The clutch ability by James Harden, the fatigueness by Joel Embiid, the coaching of Doc Rivers, the lackluster role player depth production off the bench, all of those factors are still in our minds. The 76ers have done nothing, absolutely nothing over the last month to put our worries to rest. What they've actually have done are make our worries even more standoutish. We've seen Joel Embiid's, I will give you all this. We have not seen Joel fatigue at all this season, which is fantastic. Truly fantastic. Back end of the season, all that, this is where we should be starting to see the initial cracks of that beginning to form, the fatigue factor coming in, but we really haven't gotten that. So I will give y'all no Joel fatigue, which is absolutely fantastic, but we've gotten lackluster James Harden play, we've gotten lackluster bench play, we've seen Doc Rivers be a bad coach, so everything else besides Joel fatigue has shown itself over the last 3 weeks of the regular season. So 76ers phoning it in last night, folks, even with, the third seed potentially up for grabs if the Celtics and the Bucks lost. They didn't, and we didn't expect them to. But the fact that the 76ers didn't even put out their starters, once again, that's a bad coaching move by Doc Rivers, in my opinion. Speaks to his coaching. They need the rest. They got rest, folks. What's the one extra day rest? Because playoff teams, they don't play today, Monday. They don't play tomorrow, Tuesday. They don't play Wednesday. They don't play Thursday. They don't play Friday. Playoffs start on Saturday. So that's 5 full days you have off. Why not go and play the last game? Make sure everything's good. Secure your seeding. Make sure you're going off on a high note. Make sure you're going off with, hey, we played the final game. All right, we're feeling good. We had every opportunity. We took advantage of every single opportunity, and now we're ready to go in the playoffs. Now you're a little sluggish going into the playoffs because you have a 5-day break, and then you didn't even play the last game. So I truly have big reservations on this 76ers team. Joel Embiid is really their only saving grace at this moment, and that's why we are having them at the very lowest of our power rankings at number 10, and why I'm not comfortable even moving them up one spot. I can't even do that. They're staying at number 10. Nuggets, folks. The Denver Nuggets staying at number 9 here. Getting it done the last few weeks, truly securing that 6th seed, and that's really why they are going to be in our final power rankings here, because they went out and secured that 6th seed, and we're kind of fighting for the 5th seed a little bit the final week and a half. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get it, but as soon as they fell in danger of that playing tournament, we saw everybody step it up. What did we say? They went 6-3 over that kind of period of when they were challenged for that 6th seed with the Timberwolves. Ever since that point, they just dug in and secured that 6th seed, and here they are in the playoffs, folks. I still got them at number 9. Jokic is single-handedly carrying this mess of a team by himself out here. Nuggets at number 9, keeping them here. All right, and then the 8 team, and I think this is a team that we are going to kind of take out and put a new team in. So at the number 8th seed, I think we are taking out the Hawks. And why we're taking out the Hawks is really nothing that they've done themselves. They've been playing pretty solid here the last 2 weeks of the season, taking care of business to try and secure the highest seed possible that they can. They just went out and beat the Nets a few days ago. Very, very great win. It's seeming to potentially all come together of what we saw last year with the Hawks. They resemble nothing of themselves last season, this season, but the final maybe 2-3 weeks of the season, maybe even last month. I don't know if I go maybe the full last month, but last 2-3 weeks, definitely this Hawks team has been putting it all together and looking solid out there. But there's another team that I'm saying the same exact thing about the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, especially the last 2 weeks of this one player alone, truly holding it down, locking it down by himself out there. Steph Curry, the number 1 option on that team, out for, the last 2 weeks. And this player, Klay Thompson, playing very, very well, putting up huge point performances with Steph Curry out, taking care of business, and trying his best to hold it down himself alongside Jordan Poole as well. So, unfortunate for the Hawks, but I'm going to put the Warriors in here at number 8. Just because they've been getting it done the final 2 weeks of the season as well. So has the Hawks, but I'm going to give it to the Warriors. 3rd seed in the Western Conference. When we're just looking at the teams side by side, the Hawks and the Warriors, the Warriors, why we're a little hesitant of putting them in our top 10 maybe all year long was, not having that great big and all that. But Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, we know Steve Kerr can coach his ass off. We know Draymond Green can bring it and all that. So I'm going to put the Warriors here in the top 10. I think they've earned it over the last 2 weeks, and that's how we're going to reward them, putting them in our top 10 for the first time in a while, folks. It's been a while, a huge, long while since we've had this Warriors team in the top 10. So there it is, Warriors, the final day, the last opportunity to crack the top 10. Once again, better late than never. Well done to the Warriors. Welcome to the Warriors at number 8. All right, Raptors staying at number 7. Absolutely. That defense locking in and locking up. This is going to be a tough out in the playoffs, and it's unfortunate that the 76ers have to face them. I'm telling you, nobody wants to face the Raptors first round, and the 76ers have the honor of doing that. Potential first round exit for a team that we have big-time reservations on. Raptors staying at number 7. We're having the Heat stay at number 6 as well, folks. The depth of the Heat, we've starting to see some of their dog factor, kennel factor come back as well. Deep, getting it done. We're keeping the Heat at number 6. Mavericks at number 5, keeping them at number 5 as well. Once again, living and dying by the 3, taking care of business last night against the Spurs. Luka Doncic has to exit the game, but that doesn't affect the Mavericks at all. Shooting that high percentage from 3, it's going to give some teams fits here in the playoffs. So Mavericks at number 5, they've been getting it done, folks. They had the opportunity to battle for that 3rd seed final day of the regular season. Unfortunately, the Warriors won as well, but overall the Mavericks never taking a night off, going, kind of foot on the gas the entire way up into the last regular season day. And the Mavericks, folks, their three-point shooting. This is really the only great three-point shooting team that is in the playoffs without a great big. So Mavericks doing it unorthodoxly, but hey, winning is winning. We're not going to knock it. Mavs at number 5. All right, here we go. The top 4. We've still got the Grizzlies at number 4. Once again, the Grizzlies are very great. Even their C squad put up 110 points last night. It was absolutely fantastic. But we have seen the Grizzlies lose their last 2 games with, no John Morant. Once again, the magic factor, is it gone? We know they're not really relying on the magic factor. They're not relying on momentum. We know this is a very well-coached team. We know that they're a deep team, and it may just seem a little disrespectful of us having them at number 4, but trust me, folks, it is not us being disrespectful to the Grizzlies. It is just truly unfortunate that the other 3 teams have been equally as good, if not better. So it's really, these are minuscule gaps when we're talking about the differences between number 1, 2, 3, and 4, where, kind of 4 through 10, there's a huge gap. There's a bigger gap. So I don't want this to come off as disrespect to any of these top 4 teams. These are all, really a sliver difference separates all these teams. So we're having the Grizzlies at 4. Let's see how this Grizzlies team can do in the playoffs. I'm not doubting them. We just have to see how it's done. So Grizzlies at number 4. We're having the Celtics at number 3. Once again, overcoming a huge loss. Same thing with the Grizzlies, overcoming a huge loss and still getting it done and being competitive. But the Celtics defense, in my opinion, is truly what separates the Celtics from the Grizzlies. So we are still having the Celtics at number 3, that great team defense they play. Then we have the Bucks at number 2 still, folks, closing it out in the 4th quarter. It's absolutely fantastic. They've got that they've got the experience last season of winning the entire thing, looking real good. Giannis is just getting better and better and better, developing his game every single season, every single game. It seems like he pulls out a new move. Step back 3. Yes, I'll say it again. A step back 3 to tie the game against the Nets. Folks, dangerous here. Bucks at number 2. And then I've got the Suns still at the number 1 seed in the NBA, because I actually looked up that stat. Do I still have it up? Do I not have it up? All right, I closed out the stat. But, folks, how we know the Bucks close out in the 4th quarter, great scoring. They put up like 27 points a game in the 4th quarter. But who has more points than the Bucks in the 4th quarter? The Suns. They're closing out games in the 4th quarter too. And they have the experience of the playoffs factor of the finals last season. So we have Chris Paul with experience, a veteran that was already great with final championship experience. Yeah. And then we get Deandre Ayton, who's coming into his own finally offensively. That was always kind of the knock on Deandre Ayton. That was also the knock on Bam Adebayo as well. They're great bigs. We just need them to be more dominant offensively, what's the word? They got to be more dominant offensively, but more aggressive. There it is. More aggressive offensively. Bam Adebayo can get lost in that Heat offense with Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo. It's easy to get lost. Bam Adebayo, be aggressive. Same thing for DeAndre Ayton with Chris Paul, with Devin Booker, with McCall Bridges, with Cameron Johnson, with Cameron Payne, with Jay Crowder. It's easy for DeAndre Ayton to get lost in the shuffle there. but you got to be aggressive offensively, and that's what we got from Deandre Ayton all year long. We saw that brought up to a next level when Chris Paul missed about 6 weeks. We saw Deandre Ayton putting up 20-plus points a game. We saw him at 30 points one night as well. So the Suns team with experience now, all deadly, still healthy and deep. Sheesh, I got to give them the number 1 seed, best record in the NBA. I'm going the Suns at number 1. So, not really any movement in our power rankings besides that number 8 seed, folks. So, I am 100% comfortable with this officially being the final top 10 of the regular season, folks. So, for the final time of the 2021-2022 NBA season, this is your top 10, folks. 76ers at 10, Nuggets at 9, Warriors at 8, Raptors at 7, Heat at 6, Mavs at 5, Grizzlies at 4, Celtics at 3, Bucks at 2, and the Suns, the number 1 team in the NBA. Now, with all that being said, does that just automatically mean the Suns win the finals? Do we even need to do the playoffs? Do we even need to play the play-in tournament? We've got the Suns, the number 1 seed. Does that mean they're automatic champion winners? Well, let's find out, shall we? And the only way we find out that is walking through the entire playoff bracket and picking the winners, choosing the winners, and crowning a champion. Is there a matchup where the Suns maybe just don't match up too well and that knocks them off, and maybe the Suns don't win even though we crown them as the number 1 team in our power rankings? So, let's go back. Shout out to this website as well, because nobody is doing NBA playoff brackets. I don't understand why. In the NFL season, we got the NFL playoff machine where we can actually click winners of every single game and see how that influences the playoffs. We can't really go through the playoffs at that point, but at least we can still, there's a clickable schedule where we can click winners and all that. There's nobody doing that for the NBA. So what the hell is going on? There's no website where I can just look at the current bracket and then pick the winners of the bracket and have, those the winners be updated, and then I can click on them and all that. No. Nobody's doing a clickable bracket. Somebody invent that. You can be a millionaire. We'll try to do that as well. So if you're stealing our idea, let's get some kickback money, please. Okay. But either way, shout out to this website, brackethq.com. You can go and make your own bracket for whatever you want and all that. So this is what we always have used, and it always works because, once again, every year I'm always scouring the internet, NBA playoff brackets, so we don't have to make our own. But we have to make our own. So there's that. Alrighty, but here we go. We've got all the brackets filled out. We got the Eastern Conference brackets, the play-in tournament brackets, all that are filled out, up to date with the latest iteration, the final iteration, I should say, of playoff seeding. So let's start. Where do I want to start? Well, let's recap. Let's recap of what we did. We did this the last time we walked through the playoff bracket and crowned a winner was at the All-Star break. We walked through the division or the conferences. Here we go. Let's bring up this Eastern Conference. We can also see what has changed as well since the All-Star break. So Heat at the 1 seed. Heat's still the 1 seed. Raptors at the 8th seed, now at the 5th seed. The Bucks at the 5th seed, now at the 3 seed. Cavs at the 4 seed, now at the 8 seed. Play-in tournament. Oh, how the mighty Cavs have fallen. Truly unfortunate. The 76ers were the 3rd seed, now the 4th seed. Celtics were the 6th seed, now the 2nd seed. What a come up there. And then we had the Nets at the 7th seed. They are still the 7th seed. And the Bulls at the 2 seed. Oh, how the mighty Bulls have fallen. Yes, Bulls fraudulent. We knew that. And look at this. We even said that the Nets beat the Bulls in 7 in their first round matchup when we did this before. So we always knew the Bulls were frauds. We've known this. So we had the 76ers coming out of the Eastern Conference, beating the Bucks in 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. So we had the 76ers coming out of the East. Now let's go back and bring up the West and see what has changed in the West. In the Western bracket, folks. At the All-Star break, we had the Suns at the 1 seed. They're still the 1 seed. We had the Lakers at the 8th seed. They're not even in the play-in tournament. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Kings get dethroned. Womp, womp. We had the Mavericks at the 5th seed. They are the 4th seed. So, hey, nice little come up there. Jazz at the 4th seed. Now the 6th seed. We had the Grizzlies at the 3rd seed, now the 2nd seed. Well done with them. Nuggets at the 6th seed, now still the 6th seed. Clippers at the 7th seed. They're in the play-in tournament, potentially getting the 7th seed. And the Warriors were the 2 seed, now the 3 seed. Now, in the Western Conference, we had the Suns beating the Warriors in 7 in the Western Conference Finals for the Suns getting to the finals. So we had the 76ers and the Suns in the NBA Finals, and we said the 76ers win in 6 over the Suns. That was all at the All-Star break, folks. So now that the entire NBA regular season has wrapped up, obviously a lot has changed, but is our champion? Will our championship change? We had the 76ers in 6 over the Suns. Does that change? I definitely think so, but let's find out by walking through the play-in tournaments and the playoffs. So, to start, we've got to find out the final 7th and 8th seed, and the way to do that is to go in the play-in tournament. So, let's bring up the play-in tournaments. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. We'll walk through the entire Eastern Conference, then we will do the West. But let's start here with the East play-in tournament here, and here we go. So we have the Raptors at the 7th seed. The Nets at... Hang on. I think I filled this out wrong. Did I fill this out wrong? Raptors, hey, this is not, why I did this wrong. Okay. Hang on, it's all right, folks. We can redo it as well. No big deal. It's Nets, Cavs, Hawks, Hornets. What did I do? Raptors, no, Raptors not in this. So we got, here we go. We got to do this. Nets, reorder real quickly. Nets, Cavs, Hornets. Nope, and it's Hawks, Hornets. Hawks, Hornets. All right. See, this is why somebody needs to make the website where it's automatically updated every single day, so we don't have to, do it ourselves and it comes out bungled. So, here we go. This is what we get. Is this correct? I don't think this is right now. No. I got to do this again because Nets, Cavs, they're round 1. So, here we go. All right, let's do it like this. Here we go. Nets, Cavs versus the Hawks and the Hornets. Yes, like this. Okay. We got it all figured out, folks. Yes? Here we go. Alrighty, now we've got the matchups good. Okay, so matchup number 1, folks. We've got, let me start the tournament. Here we go. Round 1, play-in tournament in the Eastern Conference. We've got the 7th and 8th seed. Winner gets the 7th seed between the Nets and the Cavs, and the Nets are at home for that game. So, we're not scared of the Nets in the playoffs, but in the play-in tournament, folks, this Nets team, they're the best team. They're the best team in the play-in tournament. If y'all have been watching the show, folks, y'all know we're not afraid of the Nets, and y'all need to stop saying everybody needs to be afraid of the Nets. Stop it. They're ghosts. Don't be afraid of ghosts. You cannot see them. They're not, for, argument's sake, ghosts aren't real. Yes, they may be real of that, but we cannot see them in our physical world if they are real. So for argument's sake, the Nets are all ghosts, and ghosts for the most part aren't real. So why are we scared of a not real Nets team? Stop it. But given the circumstances, yes, the Nets are better than the Cavs, the Nets are better than the Hawks, and the Nets are better than the Hornets because they've got Kevin Durant on their team. So, Nets versus the Cavs, round 1. Nets. We got to go to the Nets here. It's unfortunate. Is Jared Allen going to be ready to go? Let's get Jared Allen. Is this man going to be ready to go for the play-in tournament? Hopefully. I don't know, though. We get any news? Will Jared Allen be ready for the Cavs play-in tournament? Thank you. Thank you for asking the question. Do you answer it as well? Injured center Jared Allen shed his bulky splint. Fantastic. This was 12 hours ago as well. He shed his bulky splint, which protected his fractured middle finger. Wrapped the digit plus one more as black tape. For more than 15 minutes Sunday afternoon, he worked out alongside a pair of assistants. Even though the usage of the left hand, all right, what do we got? I just want a simple yes or no, that's it. Going through a pregame workout using his left hand, all right. What else? Anything? Jared Allen using his left hand much more tonight than what I saw him working out in Brooklyn Friday night. All right, early Sunday morning, working out that left hand. So may make it ready to go by that play-in tournament game. So Jared Allen in definitely helps him out. Obviously, needs Evan Mobley, need Darius Garland, need Karis LeVert, need Kevin Love, need C.D. Osman, all at their A game against this Nets team. But at the end of the day, it's Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in a play-in tournament game. They're not going to get embarrassed. They're going to make the playoffs and all that. So I'm going to have the Nets winning and securing that 7th seed in the playoffs. Now, we have to say the Cavs are the winner just for the bracket's sake, but we have the Nets winning and getting that 7th seed. Cavs lose and face the winner of Hornets and Hawks. So let's talk about Hornets and Hawks here. 9-10 seed. Hawks with the home court advantage, and I'm going to give it to the Hawks here over the Hornets. Hawks just a little bit more consistent down the stretch here. Once again, these teams have been up and down, flippy-floppy all year long, nothing consistent, but we've truly seen the Hawks dig in a little bit the last 2.5, 3 weeks. Trae Young getting it done. Clint Capella, being a solid big, tier 2 big, solid, 15 points, 10 rebounds a night, stuff like that. They've got a nice bench. Bogdanovich coming off the bench is fantastic. Where when we look at the Hornets, Mason Plumlee is still not moving the needle for us for this Hornets team. LaMelo Ball needs to kind of go 25 plus points, 12 plus assists every single night. Terry Rozier, once again, we need him putting up 20 plus points a game. And, he's hit and miss. He's spotty. They're not as deep as this Hawks team is. So I'm saying this Hawks team, they dig in defensively, beat the Hornets who live and die by 3-point runs a little bit too much. We're going Hawks, beating the Hornets here. So now it's Cavs versus the Hawks for the final 8th seed in the playoffs for this season, folks. Cavs versus the Hawks. And this is tough, folks. This is truly tough, but I'm going to say the Hawks beat the Cavs. This Cavs team, they just have not... What made them special, I mean, as we saw, what we saw, the Cavs, what were they, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, 4 seed at the All-Star break? They just have not been able to kind of overcome the injuries, keep overcoming all the injuries. They haven't really provided that great magic spark that they did in the beginning of the season, first half of the season, that made them and established them as a solid team in this league. Offensively, they haven't been able to recapture that, and we just saw this Hawks team a few games ago beat a Nets team, step it up, beat the Nets team, and when they were all kind of vying for 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 8, 9, 10 in the Eastern Conference have kind of been up for grabs for like the last 3 weeks, folks. There's been a lot of potential movement on that front, and the Hawks dug in and beat a very good Nets team. So this Hawks team has shown glimpses of very good stretch of play offensively, defensively, kind of, showed us glimpses of the previous Hawks team last season that made it real deep, where they make Eastern Conference Finals last season. I think they've got some nice experience, where this Cavs team, it was a nice try this season, but the injuries just piled up a little bit too much. I'm saying the Hawks beat the Cavs, and the Hawks get the 8th seed. So, with all that being said, we got the Nets winning, claiming the 7th seed, and the Hawks winning and claiming the 8th seed. So now, with the play-in tournament out of the way, let's go into the Eastern bracket, fill out the 7th and 8th seed, and let's start walking through the Eastern bracket to see, are the 76ers still coming out of the East? Well, let's take a look. So here we go. Nets and the Hawks being entered into the 7th and 8th seeds. So now we've got them all good to go, reordered correctly. So now let's start the bracket and start our walkthrough, folks. Let's see who's coming out of the East. Round 1 matchup. Heat versus the Hawks, and this is just not who you want to face. You do not want to face this Heat team, really any. This Heat team, folks, once again, recapturing their kennel magic the final week and a half, 2 weeks of the season. Eric Spoelstra back on the sideline coaching. All that kind of squabble mess that happened a few weeks ago seemed to be squashed, because that's what good teams and great teams with great leaders can do. There can be outbursts, but everybody refocuses back on the leader. The leader retakes charge of the team, and everybody just kind of moves on. No need to get in your feelings. Oh, like Kevin Durant, Draymond Green called me a bitch. Well, all right, I'm leaving now. You're going to call me a bitch? I'm leaving. You can call Jimmy Butler a bitch on the sideline, Eric Spoelstra barking at everybody, and nobody gets hurt feelings, because this is dog mentality, kennel mentality. You think the dogs in the kennel care about what people say about them? No, they're thin-skinned. They got some tough fur on those kennel dogs. They've seen some things. They've been through some things, okay? You cannot hurt a kennel dog's feelings, and once again, this Heat team is full of kennel dogs. They're deep. They're healthy. This is fantastic. They got Duncan Robinson out of the starting lineup. Fantastic. Max Strus now at the starting two. Fantastic. They got Sixth Man of the Year. Tyler Hero looking and playing absolutely manic here. It's all coming together, and this Heat team just purely defensively will beat the Hawks. No problem. I'll give the Hawks a win. They steal a game. Maybe. I have the Heat winning this one 4-1. Hawks, it's just unfortunately not your year. This Heat team, folks, they're good. Alrighty, here we go. Next matchup up, we got the 5-4 matchup, and man, oh man, another team you do not want to face round one is the Toronto Raptors. They are back. They are back, folks. This Raptors team, like the Heat, the Raptors and the Heat, they've been trending at the same time. They've been floundering at the same time, but like the Heat, the Raptors also have been getting it done and kind of claimed their great mentality, defense, locking it up. We know this Raptors team, their starting five is fantastic. They are a little bit of dog mentality as well, and it's all brought to you by their head coach, Nick Nurse. Great teams with great coaches, Heat and the Raptors, folks. Yes, basically the same team out here, just the Heat are a little bit deeper than this Raptors team is. But this 76ers team, folks, we've been saying it all year long. We've got big-time concerns with the 76ers team. We have them at number 10 in our NBA power rankings. This team is not deep. They are not well coached. Nick Nurse is a better coach than Doc Rivers. I do not care what you say. Doc Rivers is not a good head coach. He's great with great talent. That doesn't really tell us yet that you're good. Eric Spoelstra is hands down, knees down, legs down, eyes down, head down, ear down, nose down, better than Doc Rivers is as a head coach. There is no debate. Doc Rivers is not good, folks. We are done with Doc Rivers. We've been done with Doc Rivers for a while now. James Harden, we know how he plays in the playoffs, folks. He doesn't really show up. It's all going to have to change, and it better change quick, because you've got this great defensive Raptors team coming into town and trying to upset you round one, which definitely could potentially happen, which is exactly why I'm calling this one in 7, folks. I'm going Raptors, 76ers, 3-3 going into Game 7. Philly's rocking and roaring. Joel Embiid talking all this, oh, the media hates me, I just won the scoring title, I should win MVP, and he comes out Game 7 on the final buzzer, hits a buzzer beater 2 to win Game 7 and move on to the next round of the playoffs. I'm going 76ers winning in 7, 4-3 over the Raptors, but it goes 7, it goes down to the wire. Joel Embiid makes a big play to be like, hey, I should have been MVP, should have gave me MVP. Unfortunately, it's not a postseason award, unfortunately. So, I'm going to say the 76ers win the series, but do not be surprised if they don't. I'm saying it goes 7. I'll give Joel Embiid some credit here of how dominant of a season he has, and that is the only difference of why, or really that's the only reason why I'm having the 76ers win, is because of the Joel Embiid factor. They beat the Raptors in 7. All right, then we get the Bucks and the Bulls, the 3-6 matchup, and this is the easiest series of the playoffs. You bet it right now. You swallow whatever points. I don't know what the spread line is. We won't ruin it right now. We'll wait till the game actually happens, or the game, not till the game actually happens. We'll wait till game day to talk about the spread and the value and all of that, but go ahead and swallow it now. I'll go in blind. I'll swallow the points. I'll bet $10,000 and swallow mysterious points. I do not care. Bucks win this one so easy, 4-0, clean sweep, should be 3-0. The Bulls are going to be calling Adam Silver after game 3 to be like, do we got to play game 4? Can we not play game 4? Is there any way that we can just not play game 4 and just be like, they win? There's not. We still got to show up for game 4. All right. So that's what their mentality is going to be heading into game 4 against this Bucks team. They want to go home. This Bulls team will not even be competitive for 1 minute. The Bucks will start every game on a 20-0 run and hold that 20-point lead for every single game in this series. Bucks clean sweep, the cleanest sweep you will ever witness in NBA history. Bucks win 4-0, 3-0. But that's not allowed, so we have to go 4-0. Alrighty, and that brings us to the last first-round matchup here in the Eastern Conference, which gives us the number 7 Nets versus the number 2 Celtics. And man, oh man, this is, nobody wants to face the Nets because Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Easy money, Slim Reaper, easy money sniper, whatever nickname you want to give him, the man can shoot the basketball. But, as of recently, and I mean very, very recently, I'm going to call this the last month, we have gotten really no clutch ability by Kevin Durant. And I mean clutch in the sense of like game-winning shots, taking the lead shots in the final minute, 2 minutes of games. Not clutch as in great performances, overall dominant performances. Yes, we get that by Kevin Durant. But what do we just see? I'm going to use this example again. I do not care against the Bucks because that's their competition. When we're talking about, greatness in the Eastern Conference, of course we're talking about the Bucks. It's the question of whether we're talking the Nets or not in that greatness category. And in that game against the Bucks, nobody scored on this Nets team for the final 2 minutes 33 seconds. Kevin Durant did not hit a big shot. And then going back into last year, clutch ability versus the Bucks, game 7, foot on the line, toe on the line. It's only a 2, not a 3, not clutch. Doesn't win the game. They lose in overtime, lose game 7. So it's just, when was the last time Kevin Durant has been clutch in a meaningful playoff game, meaningful regular season, late game down the stretch? And that is kind of the factor that I think is going to hinder this Nets team. They're already hindered by, obviously no Ben Simmons. We still don't know what the hell is going on with this man. There's optimism. He returns here. Yeah, we've heard the word optimism before, and we're not optimistic on that word optimism anymore regarding Ben Simmons. So we can't rely on Ben Simmons. They don't have a head coach. Steve Nash is not a head coach. They rely so much, well, obviously on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, but then on top of that, they have to rely so much on Seth Curry and Andre Drummond and whether Paddy Mills shows up or not. This Nets team, they're not deep. The role players are not good. They rely too much on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, where the Boston Celtics are the complete 180 from this Nets team. They have a great coach, Ime Udoka, folks. Fantastic. Coach of the Year winner, should be. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, are your Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving? Absolutely. But Marcus Smart has been playing absolutely fantastic. They've lost Robert Williams and not have really taken a big step back at all. Al Horford at the 4 is giving us tremendous play. The bench, which really doesn't have anything notable. Derek White coming in from the trade, really good. But Peyton Pritchard the last week and a half going out of his mind, giving us 10-plus points every single night. Not having, Daniel Tice at the 5 now, which is just disgusting to say. Daniel Tice being a playoff player is absolutely disgusting. But because no Robert Williams, obviously he has to be forced in that role. So Celtics, very, very well coached. Nets, not well coached, but you got Kevin Durant on your team, which is, man, oh man, that's a big old spicy meatball to have on your team. Fantastic. So this one's going to be a little bit close, folks, but I'm still having the Celtics win in 6. I'm going to say 4-2 Celtics. Celtics defense clamps up the Nets. We know the Nets don't play any defense. I'm saying the Celtics win 4-2. Nets get bounced first round. Alrighty, now we go to the second round of the playoffs where we've got the Heat versus the 76ers, and I think this is as far as the 76ers go, folks. Truly unfortunate. I would say probably another very, very close series. I'm going to say this one's probably 7 as well, but I'm going to say this Heat defense finally locks up against the 76ers. Bam Adebayo's a really good, solid big that won't be able to lock up Joel Embiid, but will be able to, secure that fatigue factor potentially. This is the second round. The 76ers already went 7 round 1. Now having to go 7 again against this Heat team, it all just may be a little bit too much for Joel Embiid to overcome. James Harden, can he be good in the second round? And then really the ultimate deciding factor right here, besides the coaching matchup, Eric Spoelstra, hands down, no debate, better than Doc Rivers, is that the Heat are so much deeper than the 76ers team. And if you need one thing to win a ring, if you need 2 things to win the ring, it's health and depth ability. And the Heat are striving in both fronts at the current moment and will be no difference in the second round as well. I'm saying the Heat win in 7, 4-3 over the 76ers. Alrighty, and then we get the next second round matchup, the number 3 Bucks versus the number 2 Celtics, and this is just where it becomes unfortunate, folks. I love this Celtics team. They are so gosh dang good. Jason Tatum deserves so much more respect. This entire Celtics team in general deserves so much more respect because this is the least depth, least talented team in the NBA, and here they are at the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Respect the Boston Celtics, but unfortunately, respect can get you only so far here on the show because the Bucks have a guy named Giannis. I don't know if you heard of him. Giannis Antetokounmpo, folks. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. That man is absolutely fantastic. Now, what respect I will give the Celtics is that this game goes 7. I will say the series goes 7 games out here, but at the end of the day, Giannis, fourth quarter, Bucks experience in the finals, knows what it takes and all that. I got the Bucks closing this one out 4-3 over the Celtics. Giannis versus Daniel Tice and Al Horford. I mean, you better bring in the National Guard to help out as well because that's not going to be enough to get it done. Bucks win in 7, 4-3. Then we get the Eastern Conference Finals, Heat versus the Bucks. And man, oh man, I'm going the Bucks here 4-2. I'm going Bucks in 6 over the Heat. Once again, a little bit of the returning back to, when were the Heat good? The Heat were not good last year. The Heat were good in the bubble. What got Jimmy Butler? The Heat fatigue, that bubble fatigue. The Heat could not close out in the finals against the Lakers. Jimmy Butler a little bit too fatigued, going 7 against the 76ers, going 7 against the Bucks, just big, dominant bigs, going 7-game series. That takes so much out of you, and I think the Bucks having that championship experience, that fatigue experience, knowing what it takes to go an entire, 7-game series after 7-game series after 7-game series just to play in the finals for another 7-game series potentially. This Bucks team knows what it takes to win, where the Heat may be still figuring that out. I'm telling you, I think experience in the NBA playoffs is probably the biggest factor. 7-game series, this is not one and done where you can capitalize one game and that's all you need. No. This is adjustments. This is coaching. This is leadership. This is digging in deep. This is depth. This is everything. 7-game series are not just who has the better team. It's everything taken into account. And the Bucks, in my opinion, have a little bit more of those qualities that you need to win deep in the playoffs. I love this Heat team, but they've gone from kennel to no kennel before. This playoffs, it probably could happen again. I'm going Bucks 4-2 over the Heat. Bucks getting to the finals coming out of the Eastern Conference. Alrighty, so now we have the Eastern Conference Finals, the finals out of the Eastern Conference set. Bucks coming out of the East. Now let's see who will be joining them out of the West. Now let's start over again at the Western play-in tournament. Here we go, West play-in. Let's get this cracking and see who's coming out of the West play-in tournament so we can have the full 8 teams for the playoffs. So here we go. Back to the play-in here in the Western Conference. Let me make sure I have this one all good here. We got, I don't think I entered these right here. We got Timberwolves, Clippers, Pelicans, Spurs. That's what it is. So let me readjust this one more time. We got Timberwolves, Clippers. Timberwolves facing the Clippers. Here we go. Put them in. Clippers there. And we move the Timberwolves, or we move the Spurs here. Okay. So now we've got them all here set. Bingo, bango. All right, so here we go. In the Western Playing Tournament, we got the first round matchup, Timberwolves at the Clippers. Now, the Timberwolves do have the home court advantage, and that's going to be big for them. They desperately and definitely need that home court advantage. But it's Mother Love and Paul George on this Clippers team. Ty Lue gets a boost coaching-wise with Paul George back. The entire team, especially, hang on, it's coming to me, folks, the point guard of the Clippers. It's not Patrick Beverley. It's coming to me, folks. It's coming to me. I'm gonna have to look it up. But everybody gets a boost with Paul George playing. That's the Paul George effect on the Clippers team. We saw this Clippers team be absolutely magnificent early on in the season. Why? Because Paul George was healthy all early season. Reggie Jackson, that's who I mean. Reggie Jackson gets such a boost with Paul George out there on the floor. Everybody just plays better and better and better. The role players step up, all that, now that they've got their leader, superstar, and Paul George back. And that's why I'm going to say the Clippers win. The Clippers win and beat the Timberwolves for that 7 seed. Now, the Timberwolves, they do have the opportunity to win this game. We just need all three bigs, the big three of the Timberwolves to be good. D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards to be good. But then we also need their role players on top of that to be good as well. The big three is not enough to carry this Timberwolves team single-handedly to wins. They need their role player support. Same thing with the Clippers. They need the role player support. But we get Paul George and we get the boosted play out of everybody else, where we don't really get a boost of play. The big three play good. The role players, it doesn't change their play at all. The big three do bad. Once again, doesn't really change the overall game of the role players either. So we get the boost of the Clippers with Paul George. Paul George healthy, looking good. All the games that he's played the last 2.5, 3 weeks out here. So I'm going to give a little bit of a nod to the Clippers here. Now that Paul George is back, this team is back to being the real deal. So Clippers claiming that 7 seed. Then in the 9-10 matchup, Spurs at the Pelicans, I got to go the Pelicans here, folks. Pelicans, their big three, Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, they should all be playing out here. Now, the Spurs, they just got DeJounte Murray back. That's going to be fantastic. That's definitely going to help them out. Jacob Poeltl, the big for the Spurs, has been really playing fantastic this entire year. The Spurs have done deep the last month, ever since the All-Star break, to get this play-in tournament spot. They were the 11th seed all year long. The Lakers, the 10th seed, and they make the switch right at the right time for them to have this opportunity. But at the end of the day, the Pelicans have a big three, where the Spurs have a DeJounte Murray and a Jacob Poeltl. And it's no disrespect to them, they just don't have the depth to kind of hang with this Pelicans team. I got the Pelicans beating the Spurs. So then it's the Pelicans at the Timberwolves for that final 8th seed, final playoff spot for the 2022 season in the Western Conference. Pelicans at the Timberwolves, and this one is close, folks. Man, oh man, big three versus big three. Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards versus CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, and Brandon Ingram. This one is so hard to call. Now, fortunately / unfortunately, however you look at it, whoever wins this game, doesn't matter. They will both lose 4-0 clean sweep against the Suns in the first round of the playoffs. So that's kind of the best news for either of these teams. If you lose, you're not really losing that much. You're going to get swept regardless. So whoever wins this game doesn't really matter. But I'm going to call this one for the Timberwolves. Valanciunas versus another great big usually doesn't play as well. Valanciunas is a very, very good tier 2 big. I don't know if I put him in tier 1 category, where the Timberwolves, Karl-Anthony Towns, the man just won the three-point shooting contest. So good luck Valanciunas covering down low in the paint and the three-point arc of Karl-Anthony Towns. And I think that may be the key difference here. I'm going to give it to the Timberwolves beating the Pelicans and claiming that 8th seed. So, Clippers at the 7, Timberwolves at the 8th. Let's go in the Western Conference bracket, fill in these two spots, and start working through the Western Conference to see who's going to be challenging, battling the Bucks for the NBA title. So, here we go. Clippers at the 7 seed. Timberwolves at the 8th, and really, Timberwolves, Pelicans, I want them both in the playoffs, so, whichever one gets a spot, I'm all for, because both these teams, I think, are upcoming and can be very, very good and dominant, and maybe even a tough out next season in the playoffs. So, loving both these teams. Should be a great playing tournament game, Timberwolves and the Pelicans. Hopefully, we get that at some point. Alrighty, but now that we've got the top 8 teams in the Western Conference, let's start walking through the Western Conference playoffs. So here we go. Matchup number 1, Suns and the Timberwolves. We just spoiled it a little bit ago. The Suns will sweep the Timberwolves. Do we give Timberwolves the respect? Can we see the Timberwolves stealing one game? Home game? I don't know. This Suns team, folks, that defense, and I'm telling you, this is going to be such a lethal team. They're not going to kind of be playing around. This is not going to be a Sun that's playing around. This is not going to be a Suns team with Chris Paul kind of, all just kind of lights getting to him, while bright lights. I've never been here before, because we know Chris Paul has never really made any meaningful playoff runs in his career besides last season. Now that he's got that under his belt, Chris Paul is going to be absolutely lethal. There's no playing around. There's no, hey, we can take, a couple of minutes off in this game because, get some rest and all that. No. This is an experienced Suns team, better than what they were last season. Deandre Ayton will lock up Karl-Anthony Towns. Chris Paul will lock up D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards. He may be a little free out there of the big 3, but still at the end of the day, it's not going to be enough to overcome all of that. I can't even give the Timberwolves a game. I can't even give them a game. I'm going 4-0 sweep Suns. All right, then we get the Jazz at the Mavs, and this is not who you ought to face first round. Jazz. The Jazz cannot keep up with the three-point shooting barrage of the Mavericks. Rudy Gobert guarding the perimeter. No, doesn't work. Never works. The Jazz have been good the last 4 or 5 years. Statistically, they are the Vikings of the NBA, folks. Great stats, great players, all that. Don't win the meaningful games. Nothing dangerous in the playoffs, everything like that. The Jazz are the Vikings. I've got the Mavericks winning in 6-4-2. Now, the Jazz will maybe win a game here and there because the Mavericks, once again, live and die by the 3. Threes aren't falling. That opens the door for the Jazz to win the game. But it's not even a slam dunk that they win the games, that the Mavericks don't shoot well from 3. Because what do the Jazz do? They beef games all the time. Leads, big leads, no leads. Can't come back from behind. Doesn't matter. They beef games. Mavericks easily take this series 4-2. No debate. No problem. Jazz, you've got to blow it all up. It does not work. Get rid of Rudy Gobert. Keep Donovan Mitchell. Doesn't matter. Get rid of them both. Keep them both. You'll keep losing. You got to make a change. This Jazz team is just not it. This does not win a ring. This does not get deep into the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but we know what this Jazz team is. Mavs win in 6-4-2. All right, then the next matchup, we get the 3-6 matchup, 3-seed Warriors versus the 6-seeded Nuggets, and this is a little interesting matchup right here because we get the Warriors with no great bigs. Yes, they have Draymond Green, but I mean, come on. He's great. He's great defense. He's scrapping all that. He's not an official big. They have Kevon Looney, who's 6'9". I don't even know if we can classify him as a big, and you're going against the potential MVP of the league in Jokic. Is that going to work out? The Warriors, they can hit the 3. The Nuggets don't have really that firepower to keep up with 3. So what wins here? The Warriors, their 3-point shooting, or the Nuggets with a great dominant big? I think this one is absolutely close, but I'm going to go in 7 here, folks. I'm going to say 4-3 Warriors. Warriors home court advantage, 3-point barrage. We know how that Warriors home stadium, home court, we know how electrifying that atmosphere is, folks, with Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, all hitting 3 after 3 after 3. I mean, it sucks the life out of all the opposing teams. I think that's what's going to be the key difference here. A Game 7 on the Warriors home floor. I have the Warriors beating the Nuggets 4-3. But if the Nuggets just focus on Jokic every single game, all 48 minutes, this Nuggets team has the ability to beat the Warriors. But you have to go with Jokic, going down low, dominating the paint, because that's where your advantage is. You're not going to be able to cover this Warriors team from the three-point arc, so you better hope Jokic is just getting it done trip after trip down the floor in the paint. If you can do that for 7 straight games, you may be able to win 4 of them. All right, and then the last matchup in the first round, we got the Clippers at the Grizzlies here. Clippers the 7 seed, Grizzlies the 2 seed, and this is definitely a tougher matchup for the Grizzlies, but I think the result will still be the same. I'm going to call this one 4-2 Grizzlies here. Clippers, once again, they play very well with Paul George on the floor. He's their leader. He is their superstar. And once again, everybody gets a boost with playing with them. But the Grizzlies are so deep. Ja Morant is so good, so explosive. They're at home. I don't think they're a regular season team that can't get it done in the playoffs. I think the Clippers can be scrappy. They can steal a game or two, but they definitely need Kawhi Leonard back if they want kind of title aspirations. I love what this Grizzlies team has shown us this entire year, and I think they can beat the Clippers in 6. 4-2. Alrighty, second rounds in the matchup here. We got the 1-seeded Suns versus the 4-seeded Mavs, and it's unfortunate, but I'm calling this one 4-2 Suns. It's once again the defense of the Suns is going to lock up the Mavericks. The Mavericks can try to outshoot the Suns, but the Suns with Mikal Bridges, you've got Devin Booker, can keep up a little bit three-point shooting pace, but not having that big is going to eventually catch up to this Mavericks team, relying too much on the outside shooting, and it doesn't work all the time, folks. If outside shooting won, then the Warriors would have won like 8 straight during that kind of, 2014 dynasty that, started. They didn't. The Suns, they've got the experience. Deandre Ayton is going to be a menace in the series. I've got the Suns winning in 6, 4-2. All right, then we got the Warriors and the Grizzlies here. 3-seeded Warriors versus the 2-seeded Grizzlies, and this should be an entertaining as heck series. Absolutely. I'm going to call this one in 6. Grizzlies in 6, winning 4-2. And really, Steven Adams, he's not an offensive big, just needs to be there for defense, and that's exactly what the Grizzlies need here against the Warriors. Just having a great defensive big to take care of whoever's coming down low, whoever's giving you trouble, keep everybody at bay for the Warriors. And we know this Grizzlies team, they can kind of keep up some three-point shooting. They've got shooters all on the floor. They got playmakers all over the floor, starters, depth. They can keep up, where the Warriors, when they send out their bench, they're not going to be able to kind of keep up pace with this Grizzlies team. So Grizzlies getting to the Western Conference Finals against the Suns. So we've got the 1-seeded Suns versus the 2-seeded Grizzlies, and I gotta go the Suns here in 6. We'll give the Grizzlies some respect. Suns winning 6, 4-2 over the Grizzlies. Once again, Deandre Ayton versus Steven Adams. I like Steven Adams, but Deandre Ayton, that man's A1 tier 1 already. Steven Adams, top tier 2 big, great defensive big, but at the end of the day, Deandre Ayton versus him, he's just gonna power him. Overpower him. Ja Morant versus Chris Paul. Ja Morant getting in the way of Chris Paul returning to the finals. I don't want to be Ja Morant. Ja Morant, Grizzlies getting all this experience, this first year. They were good last year, but this year, they are next level great. So, experience all this, another experience factor playing out for the Suns team in the Western Conference Finals. I got the Suns going to the finals in 6 over the Grizzlies 4-2. So that brings us to our finals matchup, folks. The Suns out of the West, the Bucks out of the East. A rematch of last season, folks. Who wins it? Who wins? Man. I gotta go. I'm gonna call it in 7. I'm going Bucks over the Suns again, back to back for the Bucks. And really, it's just this Bucks team, how they close out games, folks. It's absolutely immaculate. The Suns are great, don't get me wrong, and I'm not knocking the Suns, but Giannis just continuing to evolve. Chris Middleton still showing up. Having Wesley Matthews for their bench now, or, so they have more guard coming off the bench, Grayson Allen coming off the bench now and all that. So their bench at the guard position, which was one of our knocks on the Bucks the entire season, since they traded away Dante DiVincenzo for some reason to get Serge Ibaka. We never loved that trade. But now they're back deep at the guard and big positions. Bobby Portis is playing out of his mind off the bench. Brook Lopez doing classic Brook Lopez things. Drew Holiday, great as well. The Suns, having that experience, can go toe-to-toe with the Bucks now, but the Bucks can close out Giannis' ever-evolving step-back 3. When Deandre Ayton can make a step-back 3, then yes, maybe the Suns can win a finals, but the way that Giannis, they can just go to Giannis over and over again, and he never gets tired, and he's still evolving, and he can hit free throws now, he can hit threes now, and he's got the championship experience and finals experience, and Mike Budenholzer truly shoring it up as a coach this season and all that. The Suns, I love Chris Paul. I want to see that man get a ring. Devin Booker deserves a ring, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I got to go with the experience and the close ability that the Bucks have. I'm going Bucks in 7, 4-3 to repeat as finals champions. Bucks, folks, are my official NBA champion pick at the first official start day of the play-in tournament, folks. Bucks winning the ring. Alrighty, now we will run through this again. If the play-in tournaments come out a little bit different than we expected, we will run through this again and see if anything changes. We will run through it again if the play-in tournament do not play out like we intended and predicted here today. We will run through it again. That will come on probably Friday, Saturday. Alrighty, folks. That is going to do it for us today. We got the Bucks winning the NBA championship, folks. Sheesh. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us today. We're back live tomorrow, noon Eastern, where we can really just kind of focus on Malik Willis, folks. How great is that? NFL stories, Malik Willis, all coming up tomorrow. Finally. We don't have to talk about NBA games. We just have to talk about NBA betting. There's 2 games on today or tomorrow. We can go over those quickly, betting-wise. No games to break down, nothing to talk about. We did power rankings. We did walk through. Maybe we talk about MVP, all those awards quickly. We can touch upon those, but tomorrow, Malik Willis, folks. Get ready. The day has finally come. So back live tomorrow, noon Eastern, doing Malik Willis, breaking that man down. Is that man a good quarterback? We decide. We officially put a stamp of approval or disapproval on him. Alrighty, anything breaking quickly before we get out of here? Coaching news, Frank Vogel, is he going to be out at some point? I don't know if they've officially made the announcement. We get anything else here breaking? Doesn't seem anything's really breaking here. So we can get out of here. We'll be back live tomorrow noon Eastern to do it all over again. Congratulations to the Bucks for winning the ring. We don't even have to watch the playoffs because we've already predicted it here. Alrighty, folks, we are out of here. Have a great one. We will see you tomorrow, folks. See you tomorrow. Save your money betting for tomorrow. Can't bet anything tonight. All right.